Hello there, my very good friends. AEW All Out 2023 is this weekend, and at the moment, it's looking kind of screwed. Now, I have no doubt whatsoever that Tony Khan will have some magic up his sleeve on tonight's episode of Dynamite, and maybe on Collision as well. But the guy has a lot of work to do if he wants to sell this as a major AEW pay-per-view. Not only is it taking place 1 week after the biggest wrestling event in history, All In, but also there's a small matter of the company's biggest star and hometown hero, CM Punk, getting himself suspended for a backstage confrontation with Jack Perry. It looks for all intents and purposes that both of these gentlemen are going to miss the show. That could change, but for now, at the moment, probably a no-go. Now, before we dive into this, couple of quick notes. This is what AEW could do to raise interest and make it feel like a big event, not necessarily what I would do. There's an important distinction there. Also, we're kind of throwing this together last minute before tonight's episode of Dynamite, so it's a little DIY this time around, but hey, that kind of haphazard nature fits the show itself, I think. But let's kick this thing off with a pitch for a match that would kick all kinds of ass. I'm talking Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli too. Look, we've just done this in Ring of Honor a few months ago. It remains a burning hot feud in AEW. They were brawling all over the arena in the Stadium Stampede. The match started with Eddie Kingston literally sprinting down the aisle to get a piece of Claudio. It's clear their issues are not over. Now, this would be a bit of hot shot booking. I would much rather AEW held on to this for a little while and built up to it maybe through a few more weeks of concerted one-on-one style building. However, they may not have that luxury. All Out needs some big time selling point matches that are going to convince you at home to shell out $50 or whatever it's going to cost you in your market for the show. I think this would do that. And hey, the first one was sick. Why wouldn't it be even sicker in a bigger arena? After that, let's book Will Ospreay for the show. He's just had a wonderful match with Chris Jericho at All In. There's no New Japan scheduling conflicts as far as I'm aware, so if Will wants to keep the momentum going and work another AEW match almost immediately, book him for this. People would tune in. It'd be class. And who should his opponent be? Sammy Guevara, I think. It's fitting because Guevara jumped in the ring with Jericho, his mentor, his ally, after the defeat to Ospreay at All In, tried to console him a little bit. Jericho rejected him. What an asshole. Why would you do that, Chris? That's going to be a storyline going forward, of course, but why not book Ospreay versus Guevara? Maybe Guevara trying to prove himself, trying to endear himself, trying to do what his mentor couldn't. Ospreay should go over, of course, but this would be an insanely athletic match between two very talented individuals, and one that I would like to see quite a lot. After that, what are we doing after that? Well, from one crazy match to another, how about an exploding barbed wire death match, baby? Now, I know the first one was a complete shambles, but that's all the better reason for it to do it again. Why not? Give it another go around and prove that you can actually get it right this time. Maybe get some better people to arrange the explosion. But hey, look, the first one was legitimately a draw for Revolution 2021. When that was announced, there was a spike in various metrics. I've just made that up. I've completely made that up. But that pay-per-view did a decent buy rate, is what I'm trying to say. Not some silly nonsense. So it stands to reason that that might be the case again. We'd apply this to Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy, of course, because the idea of Orange Cassidy in a deathmatch, an exploding barbed wire deathmatch at that, is objectively hilarious. Also, the deathmatch stuff that Moxley did to OC during the Stadium Stampede just felt so cruel and nasty. Why not build on that in the one-on-one setting? Obviously, Penta is facing OC for the international title this week. You'd imagine Cassidy will get past him, then we can blow off the singles feud between Moxley and Cassidy. Literally blow it off with explosions and stuff. Cool. Why not? After that, MONÉ. Mercedes MONÉ, that is. Look, she was in the crowd at All In. They showed her a couple of times during the pre-show and then bizarrely during the House of Black acclaimed match. That was a strange one. But there have been talks between the two parties about potential appearances. And I think doing something with Mercedes at All Out would be a good way to kind of build it up as an attraction. Look, she's a major star. She can't appear on camera right now. I believe there was a report stating that she's still in some kind of boot, so it's a little bit difficult dealing with that injury, of course. But hey, what you could do is something along the lines of Tony Khan is going to introduce a game-changing new signing to AEW, or a wrestler who's going to be making future matches and appearances. Unveil Mercedes at the show itself. It'd be a good time across the board. Obviously, they need to strike a deal with her before doing that, but if anything should expedite that, it's probably the fact that another big star in CM Punk might be out on his way out of the company. Bring another one in. Mercedes rules. It'd be great. Number 4, round 4, FTR versus the Young Bucks. Look, this is the most extreme example of hotshot booking you will see on this video. FTR and the Young Bucks probably shouldn't wrestle each other again for like a year. The Young Bucks are going to be heels now, it seems. They were dicks to FTR after the match at All In, and it was a great match at that. But there's no doubt that this match would raise a lot of interest in the pay-per-view if they were to pull the trigger and they were to just do it. It would be way too early. Like I've said, it would be silly to just throw this match out there with minimal build, apart from everything that's happened to them in the past. And I wouldn't do it myself, but it would generate interest, and people would tune in to see it. Look, these two teams together is always great. Why not give it a shot? Well, it's a stupid idea. That's why you wouldn't give it a shot, but it would work. Number 3, Big Bill Goldberg. That is, look. There are a lot of legitimate reasons why people would want to see Bill Goldberg in AEW. I see all of them, and I agree with most of them, to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to go through them here on the video. Are you telling me, however, that Goldberg being on the pay-per-view wouldn't make headlines and get people talking? Of course it would. I don't know, just have him squash Chris Jericho or something. Who would complain about that? It'd be a lot of fun. Something that is less likely to cause complaints on the internet, however, would be this man, the Edger, Edge himself. The biggest name free agent AEW could possibly pick up in the near future. Now, the possibility of this depends on whether or not you believe this man when he's talking about his contract. I, for one, do not. Remember, before his Royal Rumble comeback, he was all like, hey, no, I can't wrestle, I can't do that. What are you talking about? Edge has said that his contract expires in late September, which would make this impossible, right? But he's a wrestler. Wrestlers are always working. And if he had an AEW debut lined up, do you not think he'd say a few things to the media to kind of preserve that and protect it and make it feel bigger? Of course he would. If there's a chance we can get Edge on this card, it would make the pay-per-view feel a whole lot bigger. I still don't think Edge is going to end up in AEW. I think he probably comes to terms on some kind of thing with WWE or just retires outright. But it'll be sick, and there's lots of things you can do with him and Christian Cage in particular. Luchasaurus is on the card against Darby Allin. Edge could link up with Cage as part of this, or against him. I don't know. Just do it. Do the thing. It'd be nice. It'd be good. It'd be great. The opposite of this, right? There he is. Chick Magnet Phil. My number 1 entry on this list is book CM Punk anyway. Look, this would be an abject disaster, a complete failure, unless AEW could somehow complete their investigation into the All In incident and decide that CM Punk wasn't to blame at all. Okay, sure, if they can exonerate him in that period of time, fine, whatever. But getting CM Punk on this show would undoubtedly raise his profile and make it feel like a bigger deal. It would be a completely boneheaded move to make, I think, at this stage. But it's in Chicago, it's the Punker, and it would work. Ricky Starks is probably the most obvious opponent, given their current rivalries. But there's probably other options you could do as well. And like I said at the start of the video, these are not things I would do personally, just things they could do to make the pay-per-view seem like a bigger deal and save it almost. Now, booking Punk for this show, if he was still suspended, of course, or just lifting it so he could work it, would almost certainly create even bigger problems and widen the chasm between Phil Brooks and certain other people on this roster. But it's Tony Khan. I could kind of see him doing that, as nuts as it would be. But that's enough for this. Look forward to All Out. I'm sure it's going to be a good show anyway. AEW always does a really good job with these kind of catastrophe shows. I'm sure they will find a way to make it work. Up and Andy, this has been Mike Raffo, and this is another video you can watch. Bye-bye.